Hey, everybody, what a beautiful day. Happy Thursday. I'm Rita Hickman. I'm a body mind expert and shiatsu massage therapist, and this is my morning live stream. I help women who are in narcissistic and toxic relationships, whether it's toxic masculinity, whether it's narcissistic parent, child, boss, whatever it may be. There's a certain there's a certain dynamic that happens between a narcissist and their victim, and there's a certain way of engaging, and I help women stop engaging in that way. I help women learn the tools and the skills and the insights that they need to stop that sort of abuse for forever. Because when you evolve and you no longer are a victim, then narcissists no longer target you, and you're able to get out of bad situations and bad relationships and really start creating the life that you want. Even if you stay in a relationship with a narcissist, even if you can't leave for very good reasons, children or fear or lack of resources, all of these things, I can help you work through the things that get you in these situations in the first place and help you find your voice in a comfortable, safe, graceful way. There's a whole process to healing. And when we take those steps, step by step, it's kind of magical what happens as we evolve as people. So, what is life like after a narcissist? Well, most women first encounter narcissists who end up being victims. They end up encountering narcissists when they're children, probably in some sort of parental situation or abuse or outside the home, where someone small, female many times, is put into a position of being victimized and not having any guidance, not having any support to try to understand their way through. Now, victimization doesn't have to be even physical or verbal abuse. In my family, what happened is there was just a lot of trauma going on. There was a lot of anxiety, depression, and trauma. A lot. My family was very disordered, which meant that we as kids, had to do a lot to sort of emotionally understand what was happening. And when you come from a child point of view, you come up with all sorts of beliefs and ideas about what things mean and what things don't mean. And you end up with a whole body full of mini traumas, memories, and situations that we interpreted in a way that was fearful. But of course, you have to. You're small, you're female, you don't have any support. It's you against the world. You are definitely not in a dominant position. So, what tends to happen is little girls grow up and they find a way to rescue themselves from their family narcissistic situation, and they end up being survivors. And maybe they go to therapy, maybe they go to, a little bit deeper healing work. But typically, the body is neglected. We work the head game of how it's not my fault and I don't have to be a victim, but our body still reacts in so many crazy ways. It triggers, it's called amygdala hijacking, where something happens that reminds our nervous system and our body that we're not safe, and it goes into full blown fight or flight. And it usually takes you right back to the most painful memory, the most devastating, scary memory and experience that we have around that topic. Even if we don't remember it, our body still reacts in a whole fight or flight sort of way, in a whole hijacking sort of way. So many times, women who have had some sort of narcissism in their life about how, you know, girls should be seen and not heard, how they need to be perfect, how they need to compensate for boys, how they're not smart, all that myriad of beliefs that were taught in dysfunctional families. Now, that would be fine if narcissists were rare, if high selfish, self absorbed tendencies were rare, but they really aren't. So when we experience narcissism as a child, many times that was just the first step. We maybe dealt with the reasons in the head game, but we didn't deal with the underlying why we're attracted to certain people like that, or um, how they can hurt us so much as they do. Why we end up in this dynamic again. Why are we called codependent? Why are we being victimized when we're just being nice people? But narcissists and narcissistic tendencies are very high. And, they are high mainly in men. So women end up being victimized a lot. And with these men, you end up drawn to them to try to sort this out, to try to figure it out. And maybe you were super successful in your career, because that's what happens when you're a survivor. You know how to survive by yourself, you against the world, and you know how to overcome. That tends to be what happens. But in reality, healing comes not because we can achieve anything by ourselves, but because we let our guards down and we start to develop community. We start to develop friends and family. Now, if we stay in the mindset, if we get into another relationship with a narcissist when we're young, let's say in our 20s, or even, when we think we're smarter, 28, 30, or 32, and we walk into this relationship, if we're not actually prepared to think that there are predators everywhere and what they look like, then you're going to be attracted to and you're going to fall right into the same kind of relationship. And you're going to find yourself trapped. And even though intellectually you know things are fine, emotionally, you're out of control. And in fact, it's a hard way to feel betrayed by your own self. When you watch yourself not speak up, when you watch yourself hide things, when you watch yourself blow up, when you watch yourself get sick because of all the tension and anger and trauma, that are being triggered from this new relationship. But you know what? That's normal. That's actually what happens when we don't deal with the emotional wounds, when we don't deal with the physical rewiring of our nervous system, when we don't deal with our repressed emotions, which are there. If you had any difficulty in your childhood with trauma, then they're probably there because they're in your body, reminding you that you still aren't safe. So this next round, when you had been in another narcissistic relationship of some sort, usually it's there to encourage you to work on that last piece, to work on that piece that keeps you from speaking up for yourself, that keeps you from standing up for yourself, that puts you in a position of being victimized again and again by people who are looking for people to victimize. Not because they're bad people typically, but because they too come from a place of fear. And they feel that the only way to feel in control is to try to control everything around them. And their entire focus is on their inner world, their inner experience. And they don't even have anything left in order to have compassion for somebody else. So, in a narcissistic codependent relationship, really nobody wins. There's no winners here. Everybody loses. And so, the only way to stop losing is to get healthy. And when you get healthy, this is what happens. When you get healthy, you start to learn how easy it is to set boundaries and to enforce them. You start to realize that you aren't alone. You have a whole team behind you, a whole community, a whole tribe of people who understand where you're coming from and what you're going through. People who have been through it in their own unique way. People who are smart and successful, who are intelligent people, who are able to problem solve and probably successful in other areas of their life. But in this personal realm, they still get hijacked. They still get hijacked emotionally, and it's through no fault of their own. It's just the wiring of their system, and they're not done with their healing process yet. But when you do get rid of, let's say, the second or third or fourth narcissist, however long it takes for you to realize that you can't do this by yourself anymore, that's when you start finding and creating healthy community and healthy relationships and learning healthy skills and having role modeling of what it looks like and getting the support that you need and getting the help that you need. And it's more than going to a therapist and having a weekly meeting. It's having a community of people who have been there, done that, know what you're going through, are going through their own stuff, can help you, and can give you great advice based on their own experience, led by someone who is a facilitator in these sorts of things, someone who knows what they're talking about. Me, because I'm a healer. And this is what I do for a living. So you start looking out for communities and families, and you start developing those relationships. And as a natural side effect of that, you change and you stop becoming a victim. And you start not in an aggressive, angry way. You start just respecting yourself and respecting who you want to be and how you want to live your life and what you want your life to look like. And when those changes start to happen, when you've got that support behind you, then all your relationships start to change. Maybe you find a new job. Maybe you find a new spouse. Maybe you stay with the spouse that you're in, but you make the relationship better. Maybe you're finally able to help your child who's been struggling with these things, maybe for a long time, and you're helping give them the tools. Maybe you're helping your child who also has narcissistic tendencies because it can be very biological. It can be very much like, an immature or underdeveloped amygdala or brain chemistry or ADD or ADHD. Or it can be things that can be managed either with medication or with learning how to manage your emotional, and regulating your emotions better. There's a whole process that can happen. And many times, because narcissism is has a physical basis, it can be passed down generation to generation. And so now maybe you have children who are narcissistic. And the better you understand the dynamic, the better you understand the situation, you can help fix it. You can help heal it. You can fix yourself. You can help your children get what they need. Because being a narcissist isn't a death sentence. In fact, those sorts of qualities can be wonderful. They can be super supportive and healthy and important. And many of the things that you vilify or call are evil are actually skills that you might be able to pull out of your toolkit when you need them. The whole difference is discernment, realizing that there's a lot of different ways you can handle situations, and some of them are more successful than others. And that if you let go of your judgmentalism about loud voices or conflict or standing up for yourself or walking away or being direct or truthful or clear, when we underestimate those skills that you can develop and how powerful they are, then we end up stuck because we're judging them as bad. We're judging it as us as undeserving of respect and love. And it just keeps the loop, and it keeps the training and the teaching and the process go down generation after generation. If you've been in a relationship with a narcissist, then you not only need to work on your head game, you need to work on your emotional and your nervous system and getting the things that you actually needed. So you go from survivor, which is how many women are trapped, they're trapped in that survivor mindset, to someone who ends up being a leader, who can help their children, who can help people they love, who can help their families, who can help their spouses, who can help their community, with that understanding, because they're no longer being triggered by people because you have worked through your stuff. And you're able to then go out into the world confidently because it is filled with people who are narcissistic. It's filled with people who are looking out for themselves mainly, filled with people who are predators, filled with people who are dysfunctional and have problems and issues, and they don't know how to manage their own emotions or what to do with them. You're surrounded. You're absolutely surrounded. So you have to consciously make an effort to find a healthy community. And then you have to be the role model. You have to be the light of a better way to live. And once you do that, once you start role modeling that, once you start having boundaries and standards and expectations for how you want to be treated, the people around you, if they're capable, they will evolve and your relationships will get better. Some will and some won't. So you get to decide for yourself, whether it's worth your effort or time, because this stuff, it's not a quick pick. It's not if you just do the amazing right thing, suddenly it'll be fixed. It's a process that goes up and down. And if someone is worth it to you, if the relationship is worth it, if they haven't, caused so much pain and anger that you just want to wash your hands of them, um, then there are things you can do. I was really able to improve and make so much better my relationships with my family and with my friends and with myself and with my marriage, because I started to realize, hey, you know what? They're healthier skills. And if I practice these healthier skills, they actually work. They work better than the other things I was using, the fear and the anxiety. And these skills help you get some security back into your life, get some safety back into your life. Because now you're not waiting for someone else to respect you, you're respecting yourself. Now you know when you walk into a situation that you can and will protect yourself from narcissists and their volatility and emotional abuse and their scariness. You learn that you can depend upon yourself and that you can depend upon other people, that you aren't in this alone. And when you start to make that mind shift, your life opens up and it gets better and it gets smoother, and you develop community and friends and you make better decisions and you don't get emotionally hijacked so often, and you grow and you become the person that you're supposed to be. So this is what life is like after a narcissist. There's a bumpy road, there's a learning process, but it's absolutely possible. to become that light, to become that leader, not just on the surface, but in many areas of your life, because there are skills and tools that work, and they work better than what you've been doing. So, if you need some help, please reach out. The best way to reach out to me is to email me. So, Rita Hickman at gmail.com or rhickman at inspiremassage.com. Either one works. And if you reach out and send me an email, give me 24 to 48 hours. I like to think on things and ponder and feel them and, and sit with them a little bit. So I'm not someone who immediately responds to stuff. If you don't hear from me in a few days, send me another email, because I do want to help you figure out where you want to go and how we're going to get you there. Okay? So I hope you have a great day. I'm looking forward to mine. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I'll talk to you later. Okay? Bye.